Okay. All right. So going to the topics of discussion, you can see the current items that we are working on right here. Just a few of the things that we are trying to get in before the end of the month. Some of these may push over though into March. Okay. The very first one, discussion item number one. This is basically the just a placeholder to let everyone know when we are going to turn off version 11, which is the My Forms server. We have a standing date, tentative standing date of the end of the year. That's when we kind of decided maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think that was a good time to get everyone acclimated over to the My Apps. If there's some issues, we could probably let it stay up a little bit longer, but we really want to get that server shut down and move forward with the My Apps. This morning, for the very second part of this, is the public portal and the public application project that is currently in development. We are scheduled a quick demo for that today. But before I do that, John, do you want to do that now, or do you want to wait till the end of this?
It doesn't really matter, Trevor. What you can either do it now or at the end. It doesn't matter.
All right. Well, we've only got a few things. Well, let me see here, Jonathan. Let me make you a presenter. Jonathan, if you want to go ahead and share your screen. And what Jonathan's going to do is kind of walk us through some of the public portal that we've started to build. And it's important to note that at this point, we've really been focusing on the security for this. There's a lot of behind the scenes things that he's been doing to make it as secure as possible. We have a list of features that we want to incorporate into this for version 1. And then, well, we say version 1, we're going to call it our beta version. And I believe we said an April 1st push rollout for that, John. Was that the time frame?
Correct.
And so that being said, we've got just a few things that we want to add, that are going to be into that, but in that version. Once you guys get a chance to download it, or not download it, but utilize it, get a feel for how it's going to work. If you guys have other suggestions that you want to see or whatever, you can submit those to us, via email, either John, myself, or both of us. We will compile those together, and as we push versions out, we will go ahead and implement what we think we can get in there at the time based on the priority. That being said, Jonathan, I'm going to let you walk everyone through it and kind of show what our vision is for this.
All right, can you see my screen?
Yep, you're good to go.
Okay. As Trevor said, right now we're focusing on security mostly. This is a rough draft. There's a couple of things in here that are placeholders that will be changed out as we move forward. So registering the user, first of all, we're capturing information, their email, password, first name, last name, phone number, verifying everything to make sure we can get everything as accurate as possible. So with the logging in, we're able to also forget password, where they will receive an email link to reset it. And when registering the user initially, that account has to be verified through the email before the account's active. So let me go ahead and log in here. It's going to take a moment. This is running on my local machine. So with us capturing their information, as I said, we're able to send out emails for verification, possibly expanding that in the future for any updates or alerts. And we're capturing the phone number as well, which right now we're not doing with anything with the phone number. We have the possibility to do two-factor authentication and information with the phone number as well. If I can get logged in here. Okay, so it logged me in. Let me log out and log back in. Just okay. So that time it logged me in. So if I go to view my account, in here I'm able to edit my personal details, name change, phone number change, change my password in here as well. If I was to change my email, then I would have to verify that email before it changes, which also changes my login. And as I said, we have the ability to expand into two-factor authentication. That's one thing we're looking at for a future possibility. And then users have the ability to delete and remove their account. Now, the dashboard is actually where users will be submitting applications, complaints, possibly AR in the future. It's one thing we're looking at with this. And once again, these are placeholders. So in here at the core of the dashboard, users will see, you know, this is my complaints, my application status, what that's in. And as we move forward, a few of these things will disappear, such as the admin panel that would only be seen by admins. So we move on to the complaints. And in the complaints, here we're capturing the business name of a location, the address, state and county. That way it can be tied to the county, and the complaint details. And we're also able to submit the complaint anonymous. That way users do not have to tie it back to them. And once that complaint is submitted, it is not automatically put into the system. It's put in a pending state. That way the health departments can review it and either approve it or send it back to the user requesting more information, more details.
All right. So anyone have any questions or comments so far with this? All right. So you can
wait.
go ahead.
Well, we have the ability to say, I'm not going to allow you to be anonymous. Can that be a county thing?
We could look.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say we could put that on a wish list for the future because we're taking information of what we would want to add in the future. So county configurable options, if there's anything like that, then we can add that to the wish list for possible future additions.
And then what is your vision for notifying us that there's something impending for any of this, for the plan reviews, for the complaints?
So we had discussed internally that whenever something is submitted, like whenever you hit the submit button on either applications or whatever, plan review, then a group email on your county side, we would prefer that, maybe your IT department's create a group email, and it would submit notification via that. So anybody can at that point see that there is something, available in a pending status that you can go take a look at.
I just want to add a couple things. Aaron, on your question about that specifically being county configurable, we are going to make as many things county configurable as possible. We understand that not everybody needs or wants the exact same setup. So what we're going to make this as much table driven as we can. That is certainly an option we can consider, Aaron. I think we should be able to do that. That wouldn't be a problem. Also, what Trevor said about the emailing, that is correct. And just so you know, we already do something like that for Peoria. We did way back. They requested a clinical user, a generic clinical user, that anytime they have somebody visiting the health clinic and they suspect a possible foodborne illness, somebody in the clinic will log in and they have access to just a very minimal amount of information where they can log in, set up a foodborne illness request, and they have a group email set up, and that gets notified out to, I don't know, a half dozen different people that have access to that. So we're going to incorporate that same type of thing that we're already doing as far as the notifications for this goes.
All right. Does that help answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Jonathan, have we gotten anything
So this
on?
first version,
Sorry, go ahead.
I have a question. So this first version will just be able to submit a complaint.
That's what our
And
focus.
what, I guess,
Well, our focus is on the complaints and the applications for on-site and wells.
so submitting applications without being able to submit fees is kind of, we can't move further unless we have the fees. So help me understand where that component will come in.
So, John, we're going to have to work with FIS, and I'm not familiar with the FIS, how that kind of plays into what we're doing.
Right, and that's exactly why that portion of this won't be included in the beta version. That'll be probably a few months down the road. There is another third party that will have to be involved in this for accepting online payments via credit cards, debit cards. It's somebody that we have partnered with for Salt Lake City on the environmental side about a year and a half ago or so. And we also partner with FIS in our, I believe it's our WIC EBT system in several different states. So we've worked with them a number of times because they are one of the leading credit card interface companies. They have all that already built. So what we do now currently for Salt Lake is they get that information in a batch mode overnight. With this public portal, we're going to work with them to try to establish just some type of real-time interface where somebody would go in, be able to view what they owe from our public portal, request that they want to submit a payment online, and the plan is for us then to interface directly with FIS at that point to relay a message to them, get the approval, the credit card approval comes back with the authorization number, and then we process the payment there. So it will involve FIS. We have to work out the details of that part. We're hoping that they kind of stay in the background, so we're not routing the user to from website to website. Hopefully that can all be done behind the scenes, and we just put up the front end for that portion of it. So, but that's still that part of it is still almost that's in research still. That's not underway development. We're trying to get this first version, get the portal established to begin with, and then that's the very next thing after this first version is released to you guys for review.
Do they have to enter in a partnership with FIS? Is that did I understand
Correct.
that?
That'd be a separate contract.
Per county?
Yeah,
It's
and I
only
don't.
that, no, we can't bring in the ones that we're using currently.
That's a possibility. What are you using currently, Aaron?
I don't know. I'd have to ask someone else because we don't have online payment right now. So, or well, we do. But anyway,
So
yeah,
are they using an online payment type thing like in the clinic or something?
yeah.
That's certainly something we can look at. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the goal of any card company is to, and then this system is to be able to reconcile those accounts with whatever our back end account is so that we're not having to do double entry just to make the books match.
We have account codes set up on all the service fees, and I thought you guys, Carrie, were utilizing that already. And if so, that wouldn't change.
I was just making sure that it would still be smooth and that I didn't have then extra work to then enter it again somewhere else.
No, this is the end result will still be the same within like IMS when you look at the accounts and the reports. It'll just be a different, it's basically going to be saving your staff from having to take phone calls of payments or have people walk in to make payments. They can just go online, do it, and submit it, and it wouldn't go like through it wouldn't go through their cash drawer per se.
Okay.
All right. Was there anything else?
Again, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Just to clarify, on this beta version, the only thing it'll do is create a complaint.
And John, we're going to do the application. At least the submission of an application minus the payment. We were going to see.
Yes, it'll have the user setup, complaint submittal, and we're hoping to include the application submittal to there. Now on the applications though, we're going to have that may be something that has to be enhanced pretty quick because we want to get a process in for that to where we can start testing out and have you guys reviewing it. Before we give you a version to actually release to the public, we'll want to go through the application part of it and make sure that we're identifying all the necessary pieces for somebody to submit one. And then it just, I hate to complicate things here for you guys because we're already kind of throwing a lot at you, but one thing we're looking at is we're going to be generating a plan review module that what we did was we've implemented it already out in North Carolina, and it's worked quite well. What we're going to do is utilize the request for service portion of IMS. We're going to create a separate plan review section in there. What you can do with that once we have that in there will be aside from the public portal now, you'd be able to go in and create a plan review record for, say, an establishment that's looking to be built and they're not ready to open, you haven't permitted them or anything yet, but you want to track that plan review. So you'd set up as a plan review request. You'll be able to use the, right now it's labeled investigations, but you'd be able to make site visits, record that activity, and then once that you approve them, that they can go ahead and become an establishment, there'll be a button on there that says create establishment. It'll take the information from the request record, the plan review, the name of the place, the address, all that, and it'll take you over to the add establishment page where you can just fill in the blanks. It'll pre-populate all that information and then set up the establishment up for you so you can go out and inspect it. What we want to do with that then is see how we can tie these applications submitted by the public portal to see if you guys want to tie that into a plan review first before it actually becomes an establishment. So there's some questions that we're going to have for you guys. We're going to have to come back to you when we get to that point and maybe have a separate call set up specifically for those things to address the public portal and what we want to get on there. But we want to get, like I said, this beta version, we want to get something out there so you guys can start actually logging in and reviewing it, not releasing it to the public, but we want to get your feedback first.
John?
Yeah.
On this version, you guys have the submit anonymously, and I know you said down the road you're looking at making it configurable. If counties do not currently allow anonymous, can that be removed for them from the get-go?
Well, that would be the configurable option. So yeah, if you guys don't want anonymous complaints, we would set that right up, and when that by county configurable, that would mean that that would disappear.
Right, but it's not going to be configurable at the initial release. It won't be till down the road you'll be doing that.
It won't be in the beta version that you guys are going to look at. But if that's a requirement, then we'll get that in for the first version that you would release to the public.
Okay.
Because see, any of the things that would affect your current processes, we'll have to do whatever we can to include those in the first version, like that. So if Knox County is not allowing anonymous complaints to be submitted, then obviously we're gonna we'll have to include that, because we won't want you guys to alter your process or have to work around it or anything. And to be honest with you, I just assumed, I know I shouldn't do that, but I assumed that an option to submit anonymous complaints, I figured that was just going to be, everybody would have that, but apparently not the case. So Trevor and Jonathan, make note of that's going to be one thing we'll have to definitely include.
Yeah, that's on my notes.
Okay.
It looks like Jonathan has left the meeting.
He sent me a text that it disconnected him.
Yeah.
He's trying to get back in right now.
Okay. Well, let me see here.
But actually, Trevor, I think we've gone past the time that we wanted to allow for that anyway, because
Right.
we're already 20 some minutes into the meeting, and we told Jonathan we'd give him 5.
All right. So that being said, there'll be more coming as we continue to add some of the features to that module or to the public portal. We're going to show you guys, and we'll give you guys another demo once, we add some of that functionality to it. So I think probably next change control board meeting, we'll also have that ready to go. I believe that would be on the 17th. Okay, so for item number 3, this was needing a flag for number of days for the first routine after opening. Licensing inspection must be completed. This item is currently in our QA iteration, and it's scheduled to be released at the end of this month. So I believe that is a February 28th with a March 2nd would be available for you guys. The next one is the alert and print flags on comments. So we've discussed that internally. We have a work item for this already created. We did talk about it briefly at our last 2 plannings ago, but I plan on bringing it up on our March 1st planning and expanding on it from there. We do have quite a few ideas on where we want to put these little pop-ups. Number 5, this was for Winnebago. Anyone interested in having the inspection forms printable in another language? I'm keeping this as a placeholder. We still need to do some research on this. If anything, this will be towards the end of the year as far as finalizing our research. we would also have to kind of work with our partner company with this. And the next one, number 6, when printing in my apps, there is a blank page 2 that is generated. We were working with our partner company on resolving this. Not only that issue, but there were a couple of other issues where it was shrinking margins on the page. So if you saw your form, there's usually, printed on the very first page, there would be like a 3-inch margin on the top and on the sides, and it basically shrunk your form. That has been resolved for the most part. And after talking with the lead developer this morning, we have not heard anything about anyone sending in e-tools or anything like that for this specific part. Does anyone know if this is still happening? And if so, is it a specific form, all forms? If anyone knows what I'm talking about. We couldn't find any trouble tickets that had this with it.
You're on number 7?
Number 6.
Oh, number 6.
So, well, I'll just put a little asterisk next to that one. I'll probably send out something and asking if anyone was familiar with this. I'm not sure where this came from. It looks like we got.
Also, in this work through, are you guys, because it's blurry, are you guys fixing that too whenever you print it?
Blurriness.
Yeah, that was brought up way in the very beginning.
Yeah, there's been quite a few changes so far from what I understand. Do you know if that's still happening?
Yeah, because I'm looking at the reports all the time.
Okay. Is it the inspection report or all of them?
No, it's just the inspection report. It's like the pre-filled stuff. The stuff that is filled in, say, like by a table or something, who the actual permit holder name is fine. It's the entire form itself is just blurry.
Aaron, can you email me a copy of that so I can present it to the developer?
I can do that.
I appreciate it. Okay, so we'll look into that part, and I'll also probably send out an email asking anyone if they're familiar with the second page being blank every time it's printed. I haven't seen that happen, which is why I'm asking. All right. So the last one that I have on the agenda is the make the assessments button on the inspection default to yes on emails and make that county configurable. We have this kind of incorporates a couple of other things that we're making changes to. So we do have a work item for this, as you see, but we also have an additional work item that it's not just going to be for the assessment button, but it's going to be across all forms. So it would be a county configurable option that you would default the email to yes. So we're going to do that. And then within that, there's also a couple of other changes that we're making. Specifically, when a violation is set to out of compliance, that it shows up in red. I believe that was a request that we had from St. Clair County. So I know that one's actually in the works right now as of this morning. So that brings me to the last of this agenda. Do you guys have anything else that you want to bring up or discuss? Or we can go back and talk about the public portal.
Adams County. I do have a question for everybody regarding the predefined comment.
Okay.
I was curious if everybody is happy with the predefined comments, or we're looking at the comments and noticing that the comments that are there now have kind of a built-in observation already into the comment, then kind of has the code reference. I was wondering if anybody else had issue with that other than Adams.
Peoria doesn't really care for how they are, but we just haven't had a chance to go through them and change them. I do like that the reference and the section number is there, but I think in this day and age with the electronics, sometimes having too many prompts kind of makes staff not be able to think for themselves.
Yeah, I don't know that it's the number and thinking ability. It seems like the comments that are there, it's like, I can't think of anything right now, but it actually includes, like, there's an observation as though they know what we're looking at, and then has a reference number and the code reference after that. It might say unapproved materials observed on floor. Well, no, sawdust, we actually observed sawdust being thrown on the floor. And then we want the predefined comments to actually have what the actual code reference is, not have the predefined comments predicting what we're observing. I don't know if anybody else noticed that or not.
This is Diane Gardner from Palatine. We're looking at the predefined comments also. I've had it as a project of mine for some time that we just haven't made the time to do it, but I agree with you. It takes our staff a lot of time going back into the comments on the app while they're modifying it, and that's something that I'm going to be working on and going through. It would be nice if it accurately reflected just the code language, but that is something I'm going to be working on for my inspectors. So,
if I remember right, we pulled these predefined comments from DuPage County.
Yeah, that's
Anybody
right.
This is Diane again from Palatine. That's what I heard. But yeah, there are a lot of and again, this is something I have been meaning to work on myself, but there are a lot of issues with the comments and staff having to go back and waste a lot of time going in and manually changing things, entering, inserting in information when it's not user friendly. And I know that when we were at IEHA at the seminar in November, I thought somebody had asked at Starved Rock, I thought somebody had asked the state if they were willing to share their predefined comments. I don't know if the state uses their own software and their own predefined comments, that we all were using something consistently, but I haven't heard anything further in regard to that. I'm curious if anybody else has.
I hadn't heard anything about that, but I guess my curiosity is we're using the FDA food code. Is there not something with North Carolina or Utah or one of the other states that are utilizing CDP where they're only utilizing just the legal reference as opposed to the built-in observation opinion part of the predefined comments?
We can take a look at that, Tony, but I don't know if any of our other users are up to, you guys are on the, what FDA version is it, 2017 or 2018?
2017.
17. I think a lot of our clients are there's a lot of people still on FDA 2013.
2012 in North Carolina.
Yeah. So, I mean, we can definitely look. I wonder if we can even possibly pull something from the FDA from their website. I wonder if they would have something.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering too. There's got to be something more.
Even 2013 would get us in the ballpark.
Right. There hasn't been that many changes.
It would be much more user friendly to cite the code section, and then if the inspector wanted to, add a sentence after the code section, for something specific where they observe something or, a specific temperature, but the way that it is right now just it's not user friendly.
And I commend you for wanting to take that on as a comment or as a project, because looking at the number of predefined comments, adding in ours, there's like 985 comments. That's
Yeah, there's several hundred. I'm aware of what I'm taking on. I've been putting it off all year, and I have a goal of completing that within hopefully the next couple months. So.
Well, maybe if our partners here can find some good FDA documents to redo that, that would make your project a lot easier.
That I'm actually looking at one right now.
I would love that.
I just opened one from the FDA website for the FDA 2017 food code, and I'm trying to actually get it to where the codes are listed. The document is 767 pages. There's a lot of instructional and definition type work up at the front of it, but I would imagine that it's not allowing me to scroll much faster than using the arrow keys, though. Let's see.
I'm not aware of anything on FDA's website other than just citing, having the food code. I'm not aware of anything on FDA's website that lists predefined, examples of predefined comments for inspectors.
Yeah, I think that's, Diane, I think that's what I'm seeing right now is what you're talking about is the actual food codes.
Yeah, and you and I have talked about this at length, so.
Just so everybody knows, I'm going to share my screen, Trevor, real quick, just so everybody can see what I'm seeing.
I've got to make you a presenter. Hang on, I got to make you a presenter here.
Does it make sense, though, what we're discussing, what I'm bringing up on the predefined comments and what kind of opinion based as opposed to code reference? For example, I'm in the tables right now for the predefined comments. I'm looking at violation 55. 4-301.15 AC. Work clothes and linens were found being washed on the premises in one of the sinks designated for food prep, utensil washing, hand washing, disposable of mop water. Well, that's not what the code says. That's something that's
been obvious from the get-go. Yeah.
That's something we should say. Hey, linens were observed being washed in the food prep sink. Washing linens in food prep sinks prohibited. Then have 4-301.15 AC, if that's correct. Where it actually has the legalese comment as a predefined comment.
So, Tony, are you saying that you almost need two levels of, being able to insert the food code, but then also to be able to set up these predefined comments, which would not have the legalese, and be able to select from those?
No, I want my predefined comments to be legalese. And we can type in what the observation is in front of that.
Okay, so what I have here, isn't this the legalese? Isn't this then what you're looking for, or no?
No, that's definitely not legalese.
Yeah, I do not want the entire section of it has to, yeah, no.
Okay.
This is not legalese. This is an observation with some legalese-ish stuff to it. I guess when I'm looking for predefined comments, I want what the legal reference is and what the FDA food code says. And then in front of that, I can click on the front of that narrative and type in work aprons observed being washed in 3-well sink, and then have what the legal reference is after that.
Tony, if I could kind of elaborate on what you're saying, what I think you're trying to explain. In McLean County, our sanitarians will write in the past they wrote the observation, what they noted the item being out of compliance.
Correct.
Chicken on the holding table was at 45 degrees. Then we had our own set of predefined comments that referenced the explanations and the rationale in the annex of the FDA food code. That gave the basis as to why the chicken couldn't be held at 45 degrees. It had to be at 41 or lower. Is that what you're trying to say?
I think it would need to be, I guess I would be looking for the actual legal mumbo jumbo. I guess I wouldn't be opposed to the reasoning, but I'm cautious against that, just because if a
People
food
might learn
operator
and
sees
understand
more
what we're
than
talking
one
about.
sentence, I'm sorry. Was that Carrie? I didn't hear you.
It was. I said because people might learn and understand what we're talking about if we break it down into words that they can understand and the reasoning, not just the code mumbo jumbo.
Yeah, and I don't want to create a paragraph for, a 10-line paragraph for each violation.
Agreed.
Just because you start seeing that much information and you shut down. And so I try to keep my guys keeping things as concise, clear and concise as possible. What they observed, and you shall do this, and then have a legal reference after that. And so if their brain shuts down, all the legal mumbo jumbo is after what the hell they need to do. But kind of the start of this whole thing is the predefined comments are kind of, they're more inputting observations that there's no way the predefined comments, there's no way those comments can predict what my sanitarians might see. So I'd rather have the legal reference or the reasoning as you talked about in 3B. But I definitely don't want the observation part in the predefined comments. I want my sanitarians to type that out.
So, is there something that you guys could do to, like, maybe Tony or Diane or whoever is going to look into this? Can you give us maybe say a sample of what you're looking for? Or point us in the direction of where to get
This is
the.
Diane. I have no problem.
Okay. Well, if you do it,
This
Diane.
is Diane. I have no problem giving a sample as I get going on this
Okay.
on this project. So and I can't speak for the other county health departments. I'm just I'm one of the municipalities, but if there's anything I can do to help with this, because I've been very frustrated with it from the beginning, I'm more than willing to. I know exactly what he's saying and what the problem is with the observations. I agree completely, and I know that if you put too much code text in there, you are going to lose. You're going to lose the restaurant operator because they're not going to pay attention to it. But you do have to have the basics in there, and it's got to be accurate.
Right. Well, if you give us a sample about what you're going to do, then I can push this out to everyone on the group, and you guys can make some opinions or suggestions, and we could do something with that, I guess.
Mm-hmm. This is Lisa at Winnebago. we generally kind of make some of our own predefined comments, but we base everything off of the basics on guide 3B at the back of the code, because it gives the numbers and the section numbers that go with that violation number, and it breaks them down into like 2-101.11a, C1, etc. And it just makes it a little easier to do the drop downs or the predefined comments, as far as getting your legalese in there.
Okay. Well, I'm going to make a marker, or I'm going to make a entry on here. And we'll just keep like a running task on this one. Maybe this will help us move forward with this. All right. Any more questions about that topic, or does anyone have anything else? All right. If that's the case, then we can wrap this up and enjoy 10 extra minutes. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Have a good week.
All right. You too. Bye.